Good morning and welcome to Purpose Driven Finances, where our focus is helping you use your finances to achieve the purpose and plan for your life. And now here's the host of Purpose Driven Finances, Alan Molina with Serwus Capital Management.
Hey, good morning. This is Alan Molina, your host, Purpose Driven Finances, president of Stewardship Capital Management. How are you doing this glorious day? Oh, it's a great weekend. I know it's hot. I know they officially said we're in a drought, or some local nursery told my wife that. But you know what? Let's celebrate the heat over the snow. And so, folks, in the next 3 weeks, we have a surprise for you. We have a glorious, glorious co-host who's been in radio for years. And his name is Anthony McElvoy, or The Biscuit. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Thank you for pinch hitting.
Yeah, of course.
You know, you're not an old guy who can't run very fast. You're just a young guy who's a whippersnapper and up-and-comer.
I would say that the not running fast part is true, though.
I can't run fast either, unless it's from a dog or a bear.
Even then, I think I'm still out. Like, I can maybe run fast enough.
Yeah, fast enough.
But yeah, no, I'm not going to break any world records in like the 100-meter dash or something like that.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. You know, you're not training with Usain Bolt.
No, it'd be cool, though.
It would be cool. You know, it would be fun. So, folks, we have an exciting time the next 3 weeks. I'm doing a series on, I'm torn, you know, calling it How to Get Wealthy or How to Get Rich. But really, you know, everybody I've talked to said, you know, make it about wealth. And the reason being is we're not really talking about getting rich quick schemes. You know, I don't have the lottery numbers, although that can, you know, don't tell some of my friends, if you have a $10 and your discretionary fund is playing the lottery, well, that's your discretionary fund. You know, some people do that, Anthony.
Yeah.
You know, some other people's discretionary fund is getting Starbucks every morning.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a beautiful thing with discretion. Everything is different.
Exactly. And so really the topic or the title of today's radio show is How to Build Wealth, Finding the Garden Where You Thrive. And it's kind of pretty cool how we've set this up. We're going to be discussing, first, we're going to talk about vacations and top summer travel questions that we got from Google. But then the other thing is I've realized with people, Anthony, that there's really two kinds of people in the world. Well, we're not going to talk about the sluggards and the people who don't want to work and, you know, mooch off the government. We're not talking about them. There are those.
Yeah.
There are those. And that being said, I don't know if you knew it, my family was on government food stamps one time.
Okay.
And the goal was to be there as short time as possible. Mm-hmm. That being said, really I'm talking about people who work. There's two kinds of workers, and we're going to discuss it. Second segment of the show is those who like to be paid hourly or paid for each hour of work, and those who like to be paid by the job. Totally different mindset. As a dad, I'm going to talk about it, and we'll go from there. So, Anthony, 6, 7, 8 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. If it gets real boring, we'll hit it to 3.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
We'll play by ear. We'll see. So,
you got some questions for me?
I do.
For summer travel questions, because people are starting to travel.
Yeah.
Where do you? I'm not going to ask your specific address because that's kind of.
If you did, I probably wouldn't give it to you.
Right.
Well, not on the air.
Not on the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you ever go? I don't know what area you live in, but have you gone on Ward's Road recently?
Yeah.
Have you seen the gas at Sam's?
Yeah. Because I purchased gas from Sam's the other day.
I think it was $3.14 today.
Yeah.
What the heck, bro?
That's awesome.
What the heck?
It's fantastic. I'm loving it.
Yes.
I'm a new Sam's Club member and didn't know quite how my membership worked. And so the other day I texted my mom. I was like, do I get gas in my membership? And she was like, yeah. I was like, okay, cool. Thanks. And then I got gas.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was great. I you know, on that side of town, it's a really nice time to be getting gas.
It is.
But Alan, it is, you know, it's summer. It's a nice time to start planning, you know, maybe a week or so for a nice vacation. So if I were to start budgeting for maybe a family of 4, how much should somebody be expecting to budget for a vacation right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. However, the problem with the question is every family of four is different.
Right.
I know of some family of fours that the only places they like to go is the Homestead Lake or the Greenbrier Lake.
So expensive taste.
Not in their mind.
I'd say in my mind.
In your mind.
The commoner's mind, yes.
And but then there's other people who are like, you know what? I love to put my tent on my Jeep. That's on my Jeep. I don't have one on my Jeep. We've thought about it. I got a tent on my Jeep. We go to the national parks or state parks or Walmart parking lot, and we spend it on food. And so the issue there is not how much do I need for a family of four. Because the problem with that kind of number is social media and the market has said, well, for a family of four, a weeks-long vacation, you need $12,000 or you need $10,000 or $5,000. The problem is, what type of vacation do you want to go to?
Yeah.
Like one time, Anthony, I went to I call it a working vacation. I went to Miami for a real estate conference.
Okay.
Because I wanted to learn more about real estate. It was ultimately
Miami is beautiful. I just recently went this
year. I know. I heard about it. And dude, you're beautiful the way you have been made.
I'm not Miami beautiful, but thank you.
Well, most of them weren't either.
That's very true.
But realistically, if you're sweating all the time, you're eventually going to get Miami beautiful.
That's true.
But that being said, when I went down there, I was like, I probably will never go see an NBA game again. So I decided, and it's only me, I don't have to spend it for kids and a glorious wife and all these other things. So I bought me courtside seat tickets at the Miami Heat when LeBron James was there.
I was about to ask, what's the time frame on that?
When
all right,
LeBron
so you saw there. Like Bosh, Wade, LeBron, yeah.
And I could talk about it for a few minutes, but I'm not. The reason I bring it up is because it really depends on what your idea is and what your plan is. If you're planning on a vacation in 2 or 3 months and saving for it, hopefully you have a lot of discretionary income.
Yeah.
That you're not going to use credit cards. But realistically, it's to plan according to what your family likes and what you enjoy, not what other people say, think, or do.
Yeah, I think that's because you do see that a lot. You're like, oh, like you said, it's the average vacation is going to cost this much, and it is. It's very different because it's for me. If I'm going to go on vacation somewhere, my whole thing right now is I want to visit every major league ballpark in America.
Right.
And so for me, I'd be like, all right, well, how can I knock out the most in maybe a 7-day span?
Right.
And so then I'm planning, all right, well, I want to see this game, maybe a hotel here, hotel here.
Right.
But that's very different than, like you said, like someone who's like, well, we want to stay a week at the Greenbrier or the Omni Homestead Resort or something like that. Like those are two very different numbers.
Totally. And I dare to say you're not staying in 4 or 5 star hotels to go. Right.
No.
I mean, realistically, because the goal is to get a great seat, a great beverage, a great food, and a great souvenir.
Yeah.
Not a glorious accommodation to where they, put chocolate and a rose on your bed and turn the TV on and you look out your window and there is deers, fawning and out the window. So it's really geared. Because here's what I'm looking forward to the American culture changing. And all this, the next 3 segments, not 3 segments, next 3 shows came from looking at the Living in Lynchburg type of Facebook post here in Lynchburg. And people complaining about this or complaining about that. And realistically, it's so individualistic that you need to stop comparing yourself to people on the internet or your neighbor and just live your life, because the thief of joy is comparison.
Well, and I think this next question that I'm going to ask is kind of maybe already been over, but is it possible right now with higher costs to take vacations and not maybe affect some of my future financial plans down the road.
Yeah, like retirement or, if when I say you, I'm not talking about you, Anthony, but you in general.
Mm-hmm.
If you're getting married next year, can I take a vacation this year? And it's something I really want to go to. Like a friend of mine, he got an elk hunt somewhere. He won the lottery.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That's a big deal. And don't come at me about elk hunting. Just move on. Keep it to
You'll get
yourself.
nothing from me. Don't worry.
Right. So, but that being said, will that decision to go affect? Sometimes it will.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, what will bring you the most joy? Is it paying $500 a day for a room, or maybe spending $100, $150, not $100? Because if you go dumpster diving too much in hotel rooms, you can, end up. My wife and I, we were young in college. We went to this concert New Year's Eve. I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
We went on it wasn't a shoestring budget. It was like a no-string budget.
Yeah.
And we went at McDonald's and had their Whoppers. We had like 2 Whoppers a day each. And so I went to like Motel 6 or something, and it was like $30 a day.
Mm-hmm.
They smoked in there. My wife got a migraine, ended up having a horrible experience.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really want to dumpster dive too much.
Yeah.
But make it to where you and your family enjoy it, and maybe lower the expenses a little bit. But I think everybody needs a time to get away.
And that's the thing I try to tell, like, my mom, or we're having this conversation a lot with my grandparents, who are retired and are well off. They're fine. But a lot of what I'm seeing older people, and even like my mom, is they're so worried about making sure that they have enough for us when they're gone.
Right.
That they'll forego doing things that they deserve to get to experience. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we're having that conversation a lot where it's like, look, live your life. Mm-hmm. Like, at the end of the day, I want you to spend your money on things that you've earned the right to be able to do, and not worry about me. Like, would it be nice to get handed however much money? Sure. But I also don't want you at the end of your life to be like, well, I wish I had done this. Right. I wished I had done this.
Hey, Sonny child, I got a $2 million for you, but I sure wish I had bought that place at the beach.
Yeah.
So exactly.
Like, do that.
Right, exactly. But Anthony, great question. So folks, we're going to take a 30-second break and come back, and we're going to talk about how to build wealth, finding the garden where you thrive. 434-316-0246.
Hey, this is Jonathan Falwell, pastor of Thomas Road Baptist Church, and we want to invite you to come out to be a part of all that God is doing at Thomas Road. Whether it's through our groups program, whether it's through worship on Sunday mornings, our sports programs, camp programs, all of the different things that we have each and every week, we have something for you. And so I want to encourage you, go to our website at trbc.org to check out all the opportunities where you can connect and become part of a church that loves God and that loves people. Join us today.
And now, back to Purpose-Driven Finances. Here's Alan Molina with Serwus Capital Management.
Hey, good morning again. Alan Molina, your host of Purpose-Driven Finances, president of Serwus Capital Management, helping you achieve the purpose and plan for your life through financial planning and portfolio management. You know, it's a great thing. It's a great thing for we as individuals to live a life that is designed where we thrive. And it bothers me so much of people comparing and complaining, and what ends up happening is so often people just don't walk in who they're made to be and aren't comfortable in that. This past weekend, Anthony, we had my youngest son got married.
Oh, congratulations.
I appreciate it. It was a glorious thing. And I was nervous. And what I was nervous about was this age group, which is your age group, is internet weddings. It freaking annoys the snot out of me.
Yeah.
And I mean, just because this one influencer or even just a person had all this gloriousness doesn't mean you need to. And I was so proud of them because what they did with their cake, what they did with the food, what they did with preparing and doing it was a beautiful ceremony. And it enabled them to take the leftover money and have their honeymoon paid for at Hawaii.
And that's amazing. I'll say this. This is maybe my hot take. I think the wedding industry is one of the biggest scams going on in this country.
You haven't gotten married yet.
No.
So
and the thing is, I if I had a wedding, I would not be spending more than maybe $8,000
right.
on it.
Well,
I think anything else over that is
Well, the key there is most weddings are for women.
Yeah, true.
And most of the time, the women's family pays for it. So hopefully, you know, she's happy.
I'm hoping to marry up.
Yeah, well, we all are. We all want to out punt our coverage.
Correct.
So what we're talking about here, and I want to keep on time, is let me tell you a little story, guys. I have 3 boys, Noah, Nathan, and Caleb. Great guys. 2 of them are married. Both of them, the oldest and the youngest, got married at 20. And the middle one, he's like, I'm late. I said, no, bro, you're just on time, because we all have that specific time that we need to find the right one, and no use rushing it. But Anthony, all 3 of them are different. The first son, right now he's a welder, but he's going to school to become an engineer. And he's been married 5 years. But one thing I learned about him growing up is he's really good with his hands and making things. He was named well. But we would start doing woodwork I used to make tables.
Yeah.
Giant tables, like dining room tables out of slabs of wood. And people liked it. They would pay us $3,000-$4,000. And I was like, no, we can fill up your summer. And you could churn these out and make some bucks. He couldn't stand it, because he's like, I want to work 4 hours and I want to earn $20 an hour or $25 an hour. And if it's 25, I want $100. Whereas our middle son, Nathan, he would rather work and get paid by the job, not by the hour. And so I realized that it's a completely mindset. And it enables and what I also realized is they, as individual men now, if they are working in a different mode, what ends up happening is they get stressed, they get anxious, they get worried, and then from that standpoint, they're not doing their best. Now, Anthony, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Which one is better?
Oh, that's a good question. I've never thought about it. I do like the tangible, me personally at least, I do like the tangible idea of going, I did this amount of work, or I did work for this amount of time, and this is how much I got out of it. So maybe for me, which is hilarious because I'm completely opposite, where I'm a salaried employee, I do like the thought of an hourly pay.
Exactly. And, I kind of set you up, but realistically, neither is right or wrong.
Yeah.
But if you are a person who likes hourly wages and you're working per job, it's not a good fit.
Yeah.
And so what you need to do is you need to fit in that situation. Now, Anthony, we've had such a great time chatting. So we're a little bit behind, so I'm going to keep on running if you don't mind.
Do what you need to do, my friend.
So look at the 2 roads. And what I mean by this is I'm going to try to use an analogy of a garden. A person who values stability, predictability, clear expectations, defined responsibilities, and a process, and sometimes a team environment. I don't, when I do work, sometimes I don't want a team. Just let me do it, bro.
Yeah.
Even if I'm by the hour. And what they do is they have a garden, and they want to know exactly what they're getting paid for how long it is. An example would be an engineer, a nurse, a teacher. My oldest son, he's a welder, he's a plumber, but he's not an owner. He's a welder or a plumber. Government workers, corporate professionals. Now, the thing is anything wrong with those people? The answer is no. Is there anything wrong with those professions? The answer is no.
No.
If we didn't have engineers who were paid by the hour or the day or salary, we wouldn't have a lot of things.
We'd be in trouble.
Exactly. I mean, you're an engineer.
Yeah.
Sound engineer.
Well, sure.
Sure. So now the road number 2 is the outcome garden. These are people who thrive on freedom, ownership, creativity, independence, flexibility, direct accountability that is measured in their paycheck. When I used to work at Liberty, I used to work many years ago up in the mansion, up in the attic, doing donor relations. And I liked it, but once I moved around in the organization, eventually I got paid for a little bonus for the productivity I had.
Mm-hmm.
I thrived under that. I loved that.
Yeah.
And that's just who I am.
It's like having a goal.
Right. Well, yeah. But I get rewarded almost instantly for doing my work.
Yeah.
And so, business owners, sales professionals, consultants, entrepreneurs, real estate investors, real estate agents. I would be a little nervous being a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
The reason being is if you don't sell,
you're not making anything.
Right. That's rough. And so that being said, both of those gardens, they produce fruit. The structured garden has a long growing harvest. It's like corn, wheat, or watermelons I'm thinking of. But whereas the other kind of garden, the outcome garden, it's like peppers and tomatoes and squash. Have you ever had a garden?
No. I have learned I can't keep plants alive, so I just tend to have fake ones.
Well, that's a glorious thing to understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Many years ago, we lived on Deep Woods Road down in Hardy, and we were sitting there, and we were renting a 800 square foot old turn of the century. Mm-hmm. When I say turn of the century, 1800s.
18 to 19, yeah.
Yeah, not 2000.
19 to 20.
Yeah. And so the owners, some old people, to us, they decided to have a garden and said, hey, why don't you come enjoy and you can plant in the same spot.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I went and bought a pound of green beans. Now, when you buy a pound of green beans, that's a lot of plants.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bag full of plants. I mean, not plants, but seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And I would get looks from people who actually did gardening, and they're like, bro, you really going to plant a pound of green beans? It's like, yeah, what's the problem?
Of course, why not?
Well, I planted them, covered them with dirt, and I came back like 2 months later. It's not the way you garden.
Correct.
So I'm not a good gardener.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the kind of guy who I would rather pay that nice farm stand on 29. I'd rather buy their vegetables. And there's a reason I'm telling this story is because the outcome garden a lot of times has big pushes in assets and fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had that coworker is like, I got a garden and I got squash coming out of my ears.
Yeah.
And so here's bags and bags and bags and bags. That's a lot of like the outcome garden, the person who likes to be paid by the job. A lot of times they go from making a lot of money to a little bit of money. And so that's part of the reason why the people who want something steady are uncomfortable. Now, you know what? I'm going to take a break and say, Anthony, from the first segment, second segment, not the first segment, but, the first analogy or this, you got any questions for me that you want to ask?
I think one of the things that I find interesting, and it is right here, is how social media has affected the way that people maybe view themselves or even coworkers who have those different kind of mindsets.
Right. Social media is a benefit. There's so much I've learned on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make it publicly aware right now. I think I've done it before. I want to buy a C8. I want to buy an E-Ray.
Yeah.
Sometime, Lord willing, and if I never buy it, that's fine. In the next 1 or 2 years. I just would like to have that. And social media has enabled me to really learn about the Corvette industry, different, all sorts of it.
Yeah.
But the negative of social media is if you have a Corvette, you're just an old white guy with New Balance shoes,
mm-hmm.
socks pulled up to your knees,
mm-hmm.
jean shorts, and a collared shirt. and
Yeah.
you always leave your Corvette in the garage.
Yeah.
You know?
I have a family member who's like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or you don't. It's not a real sports car. You need to have a Bugatti, or you need to have a Porsche, or you need to have a McLaren.
It's almost like it's not good enough.
Right. And so the issue I have with social media is, oh, I'm sorry you collect trash.
Mm.
I'm so sorry. Maybe one day you'll get an education and you'll get a real job.
Yeah.
Or, oh, wow, you're a geek. You're a nerd. All you do is work on the computer all day.
Yeah.
You know, or I can't believe, you know, is that all the education you could get? You know,
it does tend to bring out the darker side
Right.
of our humanity.
And the comparison, and it's wrong.
Yeah.
Because realistically, if anybody has read anything in history, back in the day when they would throw out the feces, I don't know what to call it on air, and the
Feces
pee
is fine.
and
Excrement. Waste.
yes, and they threw it out the window in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and then everybody got sick.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a plumber, that's what's going to happen.
Right.
And so every part of society is important, not the drug dealers, not
Right.
not the assassins and et cetera. But I'm talking about
Right.
legitimate people working legitimate jobs.
It's like putting down the person working at McDonald's while you're sitting in the drive-thru for said McDonald's.
Right. I mean, come on, bro. Come on, man.
Like, if that worker doesn't exist, you don't get your Big Mac.
Right. Right. And generally a lot of times McDonald's, but there's some people who make really good bucks
Yeah.
at McDonald's. Maybe that's all they want.
Yeah.
Maybe they're in transition. But we need to stop being job snobs.
Mm-hmm.
Because growing up, and I didn't mean to go all the way down this way, but I'm going to try to transition to the next segment.
Yeah.
Is what happens is wealth, what it does is it follows your alignment. What I mean by that is if you are a successful person who works by the hour, you have to develop and create wealth differently, excuse me, folks, than those who get paid by the job. I'll give you an example. My father-in-law, great guy. His name is Leonard. He's gone to be with the Lord now. He worked in sheet metal fabricating his entire life. But what he did systematically, and I have clients, I'm not going to, of course, name who they are, but I have clients who did this exact same thing. From early on, they saved a certain percentage, and more than 2 or 3%, normally 10, 15% of their paycheck, they saved it and invested it the best they knew how.
Yeah.
And then what happens is they save it and save it and save it towards goals, vacation goals, car goals, retirement, whatever the goal is, and they systematically build a tremendous amount of wealth. I'm going to tell you, Anthony, I have so many $1 million clients that how they became wealthy is not by owning a business, but by going through and systematically saving.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side of the coin are those people who are like entrepreneurs, those people who go out and they own things, they create things. They normally have large incomes in spurts.
Yeah.
And they get a big income, but the thing that they need to do is if they're going along and they're making a little bit of money and then they get an extra $100,000, they need to take the $100,000 and maybe save $20,000 of it for the lean times.
Mm-hmm.
And so both of them can get to where they have wealth, because really, realistically, wealth is a place where you have freedom to do that what you want to do.
Yeah.
To achieve the purpose and plan that God has for your life.
Yeah.
And so, folks, there's so many areas. I had advice for parents and grandparents and things such as that. But maybe I'll include the notes in the podcast. But give me a call at 434-316-0246. Be at peace at how you have been created to achieve the purpose and plan for your life. And don't lose heart, because you can create wealth, whatever that means for you, the way you have been designed. Have a great weekend, folks, and I'll talk to you next week.
Returns for illustrative purpose. This is not a suggestion to buy, sell, or use a platform. Only will a suggestion occur after a meeting to determine goals, risk tolerance, and time horizons. Investments involve risks and no guarantee of future results.